Hello and welcome to this episode on Sorare TV of Budget Builder. Now, as I mentioned before guys, this will be recurring themes in terms of scarcity and the sort of sizes that we're looking to knock about with, but in terms of the exact parameters, I'm more than happy to take suggestions from you guys if there's anything in particular you're looking to achieve or get your head around, and this week's suggestion comes to us from that footy guy. 2.5 ETH for a super rare D2 team where we're happy to use a rare goalkeeper. We already have that in stock and we're only looking for this to be based on outfielders. Okay, now it's very hard to do some of this stuff with super rares like by themselves, okay, because super rares, just because there's much less of them, you're much more at the mercy of the holders of the cards, their profile, you know, if they have an auction pending, that kind of stuff. So what I've tried to do is come at it from a very simple angle. If we've got 2.5 ETH to sit there now, we want to put it into players that we know we can get some sort of level of utility from. They will play, they will feature, and they can offer us different levels of scores. If we're going to be going in with a rare goalkeeper, then the outfielders all have to be decisive capable, and if you're thinking about market trading activity, they have to have enough of a profile, enough of a presence where reselling on in the future becomes a little bit easier if they're in a good vein of form or they're in Champions League, international football, that kind of thing. Ideally, before we get into the video, if you are going to do this in practice for yourself, you had 2.5 ETH, I would be highly doing my own research exactly on 2 or 3 teams I would be happy to follow through the season, whether it be in La Liga, in the Belgian League, in Holland, in Scotland, in Italy, in Germany, wherever it might be, because this is for the European seasons what we're thinking about. Earmark like 3 or 4 players from each team and just wait for auctions and do your best on them. That would be the best advice I could give you. But for the video purposes, we're going to go into the secondary market and I'm going to look to try and uncover some guys that I think are at least mildly undervalued or offer a good entry point for us at the moment. So we'll start with defence. Now for each category, I've basically looked for 3 different options of slightly different prices and profiles depending on risk appetite and the potential upside that we're looking to get. In defence, the one that jumped out all over me was Stefan Savic. At the moment, he's listed on the secondary market, only 1 copy of him, so we'll see how long it holds for. It's 0.375, and this guy is like a proper champion Euro centre-back, is decisive capable, is clean sheet capable, former Man City player, Montenegro international, will be playing in Europe, will play in the best 11 for Atleti, and that's a really good D3 super rare, never mind a good D2, so it's got that kind of duality to it. That'd be a great super rare to be picking up, somebody of that mould at that price especially. The next one is Christian Gunter. Now, he is in a funny situation of, you know, Schlotterbeck is leaving Freiburg, and Schlotterbeck, Gunter, Leonhardt, you know, Grifo, there's been a real collective unit at Freiburg, and when one of the big pieces leaves Bundesliga teams like that, it can signal the end of some form. You know, there's been outliers before where that's not the case, and they go on to continue to prosper and they move onwards and upwards, like Frankfurt after they lost Luka Jovic and Ante Rebic and Sepp Haller, for example. Gunter's also a German international. Freiburg will be in European competition. He is the club captain. He is Mr. Freiburg, and again, for a super rare between 0.3 and 0.4, he's not got too much downside. It's just, you know, will Freiburg be as good next year or not? It's hard to say. And then the third one would be Anthony Cachi, the fullback at Strasbourg. His super rare is available for 0.3, which is a very attractive price for a decisive, capable fullback in a forward-thinking team and an adventurous team, and a team that could definitely have a good run in Europe against like the lower-ranked teams that they're likely to come up against in group stages and qualifiers and such. And with their manager staying in situ and them having another year to progress the project they have at Strasbourg, Anthony Cachi, you could expect a repeat of last season's scores, and hopefully with less injuries and suspensions and whatnot, they brought him out of the team at different stages, and an actual increase in output. Now in midfield, I really try to find guys that have proper 70 plus capability, because a super rare midfielder that's not 70 plus capable is difficult to really get behind when you're trying to move into that D2 slot. And if you're also thinking about the reverse utility of, oh, well, I don't have much going on this week, I can use it in a D3 somewhere, then equally, you want that midfielder to be able to bang and really help out in a big way. So for the 3 options I've went for, again, tried to get in a few different shapes and sizes. The first one is Ante Palaversa, 0.38 for his super rare at the moment. I've had his rare for ages. He's not a terribly exciting card to have. He's not get that much of a floor. Like, he does get, like, you know, low greens on a bad day. Takes a lot of the set pieces for the team he's been at this season. He's a Man City kid. He's on loan all the time. The only mild tentative links I've seen for him is maybe Benfica next year, but they've just changed manager and stuff. I would not be holding my breath on anything like that. But he could definitely end up, and probably will end up, in another Challenger Euro team where he's going to be one of the key midfielders. If it's in Belgium, fantastic. He's already played 3 years in Belgium, so he knows the league very well, and you can then expect a repeat of his statistics. And if it's in a better team that's likely to win more matches, and you would expect an upturn in his form, of course, in his SO5 numbers. Worst case scenario, of course, he sits on the bench somewhere, doesn't get a great loan, goes to a blue cross or a red cross situation where he's not getting SO5 scored. So there's a little bit of jeopardy involved with that. But, I think for his age and his profile and that kind of thing, anyone who would take him on would probably plan on using him. João Mario is one of these guys that it always catches my eye when I'm on the market for a rare or a super. He's got so many iterations, Sporting tops, Benfica tops, Lokomotiv Moscow tops. It feels like he's been around European football for a long time. I'm a big fan of him. When João Mario's been in form and I've been watching him live, he's always been a pleasing player to watch. And since he's been back in Portugal, he's been very, very strong in terms of an SO5 scorer. But, just the rotation, maybe in sometimes, maybe out sometimes. Change of man, there's lots of things kind of going on there, but when he is playing and he is one of the key guys, and if he was to leave, if he was to fall out with somebody or a better opportunity came around, again, he's one of these guys who is a best 11 caliber creative midfielder who is capable of getting attempted assists, penalty box entries, goals and assists, of course, ultimately, as well as some of these other key metrics like passing success, duels in the midfield, because he is a robust midfielder. He's not a big tackling guy necessarily, but he's not flimsy, he's not a pushover, he will get involved in that stuff. And he's trading at the moment at around 0.75, and being in a dominant challenger team especially, when the vein of form does come, 70 plus is there. And then the third one is also from Atleti, similar to Savic in the last section, is Yannick Carrasco. His super rare's on market now for around 0.7, 0.9, that kind of range, depending on when you're catching this video. And he's just, Yannick Carrasco he embodies Diego Simeone in this Atleti team. Went to China, got a big payday, came back to Atleti, gets an even bigger payday. He's one of the cult heroes. He's like the best left wing back player that Simeone could hope to wish for in his team. He's committed, he's going to play all the time. He very rarely gets like 50 game seasons, down to injury, and he can get red carded, but he is in amongst everything for Atleti, so he is a guy that is, for me, especially if Atleti have a better season on the clean sheet front, because with midfielders you don't get any clean sheet bonus, but if you concede 2 goals, that's 4 points off, and that can be the difference between tier 1 and star, or tier 2, tier 1, whatever. Now, when it came to strikers, I was really at a loss to really unearth some real quality, a real gem, because I think that, again, auctions, especially for this kind of budget we're looking at, 2.5 ETH. And again, when I'm going through this, I'm thinking about just if I had 2.5 ETH to reinforce an existing gallery that was operating at D3 level to just move up a level. I want guys that will play, can hit, and I'm just waiting for the stars to align for me to get everything in action and make it work, because 2.5 ETH, that is what it is. So, with that in mind, Inaki Williams, Athletic Bilbao, fantastic scorer, and when this guy plays all the time, his scores can be amazing on AA. And he's just been unlucky this year with in and out with injury, and it's been kind of a weaning process getting him back on the pitch. So you'll see lots of sub appearances on and off. He is probably the red of the strikers, the one that's probably the most dangerous, just because of that kind of injury record that he's had over certainly the last 12 months that I'm aware of. The next one would be Jovan Cabral, currently at Lazio. Now, Cabral very first came to my attention about 3 or 4 years ago. People were telling me that he was going to be better for Sporting than Bruno Fernandes, and it hasn't really quite worked out for him at Sporting. He now finds himself at Lazio playing under Mauricio Sarri. Now, as we know, with Mauricio Sarri, he's a very systematic, dogmatic manager, where it's this position has fucking 10 jobs and you better be amazing at them, and this and that, expectations and roles. We sub everyone off at 60 minutes and 80 minutes and yada yada, all that stuff that you know all about him. So to get into his team, you obviously tick the boxes for the manager, and that's a big part of just football, is if you're going to get minutes, the manager has to believe you will implement the plan and play the system. I think he's been playing a bit more through the middle recently, because Immobile's been out or whatever, but with guys like Pedro getting on, and they don't have amazing options right across the front line. He has a younger talent, they have paid decent money for him to bring him in from Sporting Lisbon, and it's 0.4 for a super rare. You don't need too much to go right for that to be a very valuable card for the secondary, as well as a very valuable forward in the SO5 arena, because all you need is decisives. And if you're going to play for Lazio if you're going to get 30 minutes to 60 minutes, because that's what Sarri can give you, is if he doesn't start and get 60 minutes and get subbed off for that guy, then he's going to come on at 60 minutes and he'll be subbed on for that guy. And if you can then work that into over a season, can he grab 10 decisives? Yes or no? Yes. 0.4 for 10 decisives. Would you take that? Yeah, maybe you would. And then the one I'm putting as green, right, is Lucas Boy of Elche. 0.9 is the best price on the secondary market. I dare say with some direct negotiation, you may be able to get that down a bit if you waited for an auction, because Elche are a low-ranking team in La Liga. He is regularly being called into the Argentina national team. He has regularly been linked to Atletico Madrid. I don't see that happening at this stage. Me, John, Hendo, the lads, we went and seen Elche v Barca, and he is a big striker. This guy is is a striker I wouldn't mind having a super rare of, and you just cross your fingers somebody comes in for him. I made a video on one of the channels talking about the striker merry-go-round, and this guy could just randomly pop up in a really good situation all of a sudden, being in his mid-20s, being an Argentina international, being in Europe already. You don't need to worry about the work permit malarkey and all the rest of it like some players need to. And with his physical profile in the right team with the correct service, his output could change overnight. The worst case scenario is he stays at Elche and he gets 5 goals next year and 1 assist. So it is one of those ones. That's what I'm saying with strikers. It's so hard to find great value options in the secondary market. This is the best I've managed to do. Let me know in the comment section down below if you had 2.5 ETH to go and strengthen a D3 team to go and compete in D2. One player from each position, who would you go for? Don't forget to like, subscribe, share and retweet, all that good stuff, guys. Stay out of trouble, and I'll catch you on the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.